It's the BGC First Podcast that we're going to try doing today. With me today is Xana, who's up over there. Jimbo's over here. Andy's over here. And
Hello, everybody.
Austin is right there. So, go ahead and say hi. We'll start off with Xana first. Go ahead and say hi, Xana.
Hello.
Okay, now that's a simple hello. Jimbo, we're going to switch over
Hey.
to you.
Hey, everybody up here in Montana. A little bit of snow on the ground, but other than that, we're doing pretty good. Welcome aboard, and hopefully this is going to be something that's going to last, because we have a lot of people and a lot of topics we like to talk about, so we'll see where it goes.
Yep. And Andy?
Just sitting here waking and baking in Texas. Loving life, loving my friends, and looking forward to it.
And Austin.
Yeah, hi.
That's awesome.
Hi, Austin.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to talk about?
So we got a few. We got a few things today. Sadly, one of the great actors that I've known, what I grew up watching, Bob Saget, he died today.
Bob Saget.
Yep,
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
Saget. It sucks to hear that news. You know, I don't know what else is going to happen this year. Who else is going to be taken? Betty was taken last week.
Betty White.
Yeah, last week she
Mhm.
was taken. So
Yep.
sad to hear about that, and I don't know when this will be up on stream. Hopefully later on tonight. So hopefully we won't be out of tune.
We lose Clint Eastwood. I'm gonna cry.
Here's
Yeah,
hoping
no
we
kidding.
don't.
want that.
Now you just jinxed it.
Knock
Thanks
on
a
wood.
lot.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Now you just set it up.
Yeah.
Other than that, and also in the news, from what I heard, 2,000 military officers were let go back on the 6th because of the COVID shot. They refused to get it. And
I
they
actually
were let go because of
moved-
it.
Well, I actually moved someone that got out of the Marines after 19 years because he was shot.
Yeah,
And
and
so-
I mean, that's kind of ridiculous that they're
Right
kicking
before
out
retirement.
days
Fucking
for
Yeah,
retirement.
1 year before
1 year
his
from retirement.
pension.
Oh.
Yeah, 20 years is the pension,
No,
and he chose to get out.
that's kind of stupid that they're forcing people now out because of this whole COVID shot thing.
All I can say on that is I really think they're weakening the whole military by doing this crap. And all I can say is I can't wait for another administration to come in and get this shit straightened back around, and hopefully we get our people back in where they belong.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot.
Oh.
Whenever the administration changes, the whole military starts changing.
Well, and
Yeah.
well, you say that, but still, the basic training was getting weakened pretty badly, even under Trump. And I'm a pro-Trump guy, but still.
Yeah.
And
It's
you have to wonder if it's not on purpose too.
yeah.
It almost seems like it. And just so people are clear, we do have a military veteran in here, which is Andy
And Austin.
and
You
Austin.
got two.
That's right, Austin.
Actually, you got
forgot
three.
that.
You got three.
Jimbo.
Three.
You got Jimbo.
And
Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Jimbo. Xana is our community therapist.
Yeah, he's very good at it.
Almost. Not licensed yet.
No,
Not
no.
licensed
She
yet,
just tells us when we're being
She-
sociopathic or masochist or narcissistic, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
She just graduated, but the only job they're gonna help her find is a job at McDonald's. I mean,
And that's a bunch of crap.
Job placement is definitely not a.
Read the fine print, my
Yeah.
friend.
yep,
Fine
read the fine-
print.
You know,
Mhm.
it's gonna be one of those
You know
days
what?
when I pull up to McDonald's to put in my order, and she's gonna say, "So, how have you been feeling today?"
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
"What? I just want a Big
You
Mac."
know,
Yep.
you know what? Actually, if they're going to help you get a job with McDonald's, why don't you have them get a hold of McDonald's corporate and see if you could get if they have something like that for like their corporate headquarters.
She
for people,
actually
you know?
could do management. Yeah. Because she did that for I believe Domino's, right, Xana?
Yeah, I've been a certified kitchen manager for the last 8 years.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the
Well, there
thing.
you go. You're
If,
more than qualified.
and if you get the job
That's
at
an-
McDonald's
that's
at their
the issue,
headquarters,
too.
you'll actually be like 30 minutes from my house.
Right.
I live right by
And you're
their
less
corporate
you're
headquarters.
less than a couple steps away of actually being a franchise owner, I think.
Yep.
You just gotta
Yeah.
put some investment in.
I think it would be a good idea to get a hold of corporate, and if they're trying to get you a job, doing something like that, that would probably be a good idea, and see if they could help you get on board with that. See if they have any kind of positions like that.
Yeah, if she wanted to be in that. I mean, it just kind of like Xana. Do you want to be in something like that, like food, food
No.
industry again?
No.
Well, it doesn't.
He's like, no.
I'm not saying. I'm saying that she could be there to help counsel people or whatever.
Oh
if they have
yeah,
pro-
I'm sure. I didn't think about
That's
that.
what
Yeah,
I'm
I guess
talking about.
McDonald's had have
I'm
an
not
HR
talking
department.
about. Yeah, they got an HR department. They've got to have somebody that's going to help.
Well, they have to. I mean, they hire
children.
so many felons.
That would be a great newsletter.
Help the children feel better.
Right? They'd be
Well,
like, we want raises. They'd be like, nah, the best we can do is CBD therapy. Let's go.
Hey, and there's a lot of people out there probably say, okay, can we do it while we're at
Yeah.
work?
Right?
That kind of
Mm.
thing.
Forget about the employees, though. Most of McDonald's customer base goes there for emotional support. Anyway,
Ooh.
Good point.
You're right. A lot of
Yeah.
people that actually eat fast food, they're doing it because it's comfort food, for them.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe you can
450
come out
Them
with
pounds.
some
chicken
kind of
nuggets, bring it
campaign
home.
for
If that's the case, I'm
Yeah,
450 pounds of comfort food.
them.
Yeah.
But no,
Well,
I
that's
would.
why Xana would be there for you, saying, "Yeah, I think you need to cut back on your fries tonight, buddy.
How about a large?
How about if we give you a medium instead of that extra large tonight?"
No salt.
or a salad, no salt. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's another thing I found out too. Their medium fries and their large fries are almost identical in size.
They're
They
same
are.
size. Yep.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
just
they are the
different
same
bags.
size.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just different packaging and yeah, you get the same amount of fries between a medium and a large.
Yeah. That's how they make that capital.
Yeah, that's why you just
Happens
say
at it.
screw it, order 2 smalls.
Yeah, I
No.
just go to
It's not-
Taco Bell. If I order a burrito, I know it's going to be the same size. Oh wait, then again.
it's
Yeah.
a good point, David. Jim is saying that you basically go to a clown for a reality check.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
go.
I
Better the
did,
actual
you know,
fucking
I went to
accurate.
a clown, but he tasted funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh
Leave
God,
the
I
love
remember
life
that.
out of
The
this.
clown
Yeah,
tasted
the-
funny. I remember that joke. Oh, the good one, right? That was an old one. Yeah. Clown tasted funny.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of tasted funny, Andy, you were talking about California and ham pigs.
Yeah. So they passed a law in California. They're no longer allowed to purchase pork for the state of California if the breeding pigs are in a space less than 10 by 10.
Who's
Let's-
they?
Well, the whole state. What do you
Yes,
mean?
let's-
Legislator
or-
passed the law. Yeah.
Oh no. Well, no, the whole state basically said they can't purchase from pig providers or pork providers that house their pigs in those kind of conditions. Which, I mean, I get the kind of progressive
breeding.
points. Yeah, and I get the kind of progressive points of it, but when you have a farmer, that has like 2,000 pigs, and all of a sudden he has these spaces of say 6 by 6, whatever, for each pig, and he has to magically create a number out of nowhere to make it to where he could sell to California. It's like, what's the point? Doesn't sound like it works. That's my own personal thing. I don't know. I feel like if you were to try to be more humane about it, maybe be a little more gradual or realistic. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of California has been known to make stupid laws. One of them being with the semi trucks, not being older than 5 years or something like that. So it shut down pretty much the entire shipping economy part of it.
Yeah.
They've
Well, in the
actually outlawed
taxes,
generators.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Austin.
What was that, Austin?
they outlawed generators, gas powered generators.
Yeah, that's another retarded thing. I mean, they're
That is
trying
really,
to,
yeah, that
well,
is really stupid.
they're trying to go all green, and it's, they're sitting there saying that we should follow the rest of the United States should follow California's lead on becoming green energy and stuff, and it's like they're not really much green. All they're doing is hurting the economy.
Well, they're
At
not
least
green,
so.
and they're actually taxing the hell out of the people that live there, and that's why everybody's leaving.
Yeah, it's all ass backwards. The Shasta Dam up in Redding in Northern California has a hydro dam or hydro generators.
Hydroelectric, yeah.
Built into it, but which is paid for by the taxpayers. But the majority of that electricity is actually sent to Nevada
Right. Well,
at the expense of California taxpayers.
That's I hate, it's really, I hate to say it, it's really stupid. You're sending power to Nevada, and Nevada, is sending power to California. It's just stupid.
It's all
No.
money.
Yeah, it's all it is.
American politics have become just about it's a criminal syndicate is what it is. It's not about left or right
Yeah.
or any sort
Well,
of
it's the
ideology.
the syndicate needs to be broken up desperately.
Yep.
And that's up to the people of the United States to do that. When you go to the voting booth, be sure you're doing your homework, know who you're voting for, know what they stand for, and put the right people in place. And if they don't do what they promised they were going to do, recall them, get somebody else in there.
Well,
And that whole recall with Gavin Newsom, I think that was just all rigged anyway. So
Sure.
oh, it was. There were enough people to petition who actually voted that wanted him to be pulled out, and yet magically, nope, didn't happen. Not quite.
yeah, and then you see that there was I saw a story. There was a guy that was actually arrested with a bunch of blank ballots in the trunk of his car. Where was he going, and what was the purpose of those ballots? We know what happened. There was a lot of people like that, and they stuffed the ballot boxes.
Yep.
So
Yep. And that's
A lot of figs.
that's another thing too, is they keep on referring to what happened on January 6th last year. They keep saying that it's equivalent to the September 11th or the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, you're talking about the Insurrection Day.
Yeah,
what they're
the
calling it.
Insurrection Day. And it's like there's all this evidence that shows, even video clips that show them literally taking ballots that weren't actually casted, pulling them out from under tables from other areas, and quickly scanning them in. And sometimes they were even caught double scanning, which is taking the stack that they've already scanned and then putting it back in the machine and counting it again. And the machine doesn't, differ between the two. That says, okay, I've already scanned this stack. It keeps on adding the tally up, so they could have an entire stack, 500 votes for one person, and just keep running it through the machine, and it keeps tallying those votes, thinking that it's a new stack.
yeah, and that's the thing that worries me is how many states actually went through that. How many times and how many places that actually happened. We know it happened in Michigan. We know it happened in because the really famous one that you're talking about is what was that, the stadium? What was the name of that stadium? Is that the AT&T Stadium?
That the
I don't remember anymore.
I can't remember which one it is.
Was that in Atlanta
Yeah, Georgia was one of them. Virginia, I think,
or
was another one.
Georgia?
Yeah, Georgia.
Virginia, yeah, where they showed the people pulling ballots out from underneath tables, and I'm like, how could that not be voter fraud? Oh, well, they did the audit 3 times. Well, if you count the invalid ballots 3 times, it's still going to be invalid.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter how many times you run the bad ballots. It's
and
still
I
bad.
don't know how many people just go to vote for who they want president. I don't know how many people just go and vote that, normal ballots.
Right.
You got a whole slew of things that for your state and for federal, that you're sitting there filling
Right.
out. Who you want as a judge, who you want as this, who you want as that.
Out of curiosity, how do you feel about it, Xana? I've been kind of quietly.
Well, plotting.
Why?
I-
Revenge.
Well, I have an opposing view toward it because I think when it comes to the Prevention of Farm Animal Cruelty Act, it should be not taken lightly, and things need to be in compliance with how animals are raised,
Okay.
and slaughtered, and all of the in between. Because we all, us, I'm a meat eater, or most of us eat meat
Yeah.
here. I like a steak, but I like to know that they're moving around freely, or being able to extend all their limbs, or being killed right, or making sure that they're being transported lawfully. And you know, to, in order for they need to get stricter on compliance, and they need to continue to stand up, and be like, hey, we're not going to eat this if you guys can't follow the laws and the rules that are made.
Okay, so from a practical standpoint, would you expect them to say, you pass along California and it goes through, and how much time do you give them to accommodate for these animals? Because when you think about it, they would have to literally redesign their entire, literally rebuild the entire barns or whatever they have where they keep them in.
So the way I see it is compliance and or the bigwigs that come and crack down on these major corporations or even the mom and pop shops need to be able to tell them what they're doing wrong, what they are not doing, what they're doing wrong, and ways for them to fix it, as well as being lenient with them. If they need to be shut down for a given period of time, then they should be shut down for a given period of time to provide those animals the best life that they can in order, you know what I mean? For them to be healthy, because we don't want to be eating sick animals.
Well, true,
So-
but then I have another argument to that too. Then so if you start there with the pen size, right?
Mhm.
So do you end at, say, letting the pig live to be 15, 20 years old?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm
Well, I mean, I'm I'm just kind of curious of the quality of life. You're the 10 by 10 cell is a quality of life argument. So is a quality of life argument meaning you give them a longer life too? And is that viable to sustain pigs for that many years before you actually sell them to be butchered?
I honestly don't know how
Okay.
often or how much they should be around before, how old they get before you slaughter them. I'm
I'm
not.
pretty sure it's between 2 and 4 years, if I remember correctly.
What for
I
cattle?
could be wrong. It might even be younger. I was saying for pork.
Oh, for pork? I don't know what it is for pork. I know for cattle it's 5 years.
5 years, yeah, for cows.
Yeah, for pork, I think it's anywhere between 2 and 5 years. I can't remember off the top of my head. But again, quality of life. So do you want them to live in a 10 by 10 cell for longer? Because I mean, if you think about it from a humane way, in that perspective, they're not necessarily grazing in that 10 by 10 cell. They're not necessarily happy. So does that mean you can shorten the time that they live because they're in a slightly larger cell? They might be happier. I mean, that's I don't think anybody has asked or even brought in somebody that would be called, quote unquote, a animal psychologist to actually understand what kind of stresses an animal goes through before slaughter.
Yeah.
It's just
I
a
already-
thought.
I already
Oh, what were
see
you
this
saying?
leading. I already see this leading to the point where it becomes mandatory that you would have to raise your own animal if you wanted meat.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, they're already making
I-
it
I-
impossible
I
to
actually-
transport them.
I'm actually Austin. The fact that you said that, I'm very pro that. If they made it to where you had a home that, say, all homes are required to have a certain amount of land, just so that they could raise, say,
Yeah,
chickens.
so am I,
or
actually. Yeah, so am I.
pig.
I was raised in a
I
farm.
can go for it. I
and
can put a couple of cows out back, no problem.
I
Good.
grew up
Right.
Oh,
putting
yeah.
my own animals down and skinning my own animals and eating my own animals. And
Yeah.
I can say that part of the inhumanity of going to a store, the level of disconnect that most people have with meat that's just bought in a store and not understanding where it comes from and the process that's involved in raising that animal and
Yeah.
actually slaughtering it and disassembling it, having to look that animal in the eye while you put a bullet in its head.
Or bolt or whatever, yeah.
Or
Bolt, yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter. You sit there and you watch the life leave that animal's eye, knowing full
Mhm.
well you're going to disassemble it and eat it.
Yeah.
Most people have never had that experience. And so as far as the inhumanity of mass producing animals for spoiled first world people to just
Yeah,
consume
very
just
much
to
spoiled.
to consume meat at a whim, to eat meals that literally kings 400 years ago used to
Couldn't
eat.
get.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am all for
I
it leading to that point to where, yeah, it is mandatory. If you want meat, you have to raise it yourself.
you know, I
Actually,
I think that if because I hauled cattle for a while, you know, and I seen how they were treated, how they were slaughtered, and I think if more people actually took a tour from beginning to coming out the other end frozen in packages, if you actually walked a cow through like I did, your
there'd be more
perspective,
vegetarians.
there would be a lot more
Yeah.
vegetarians,
Yeah.
and because the way it happens is so quick, and it's unreal. It really is. You know, to get a T-bone steak from a cow that I walked completely through to packaging, you know, to get a steak out of that cow, and it was just
There.
something I wanted to do just so I could see how they're treated, how it's done, and it's pretty cruel. It really is.
There was a person, I can't remember who specifically said it in our server, but they came out and they said, why not put pictures of the actual animal on the piece of meat before you buy it?
That was.
Actually,
Do you remember
Oh,
when
was that
PETA used
you,
to do
Xana?
that? Yeah, when PETA used to do that in Walmart
Yeah.
stores, they'd put stickers
Yeah.
and they would give you these buttons and they'd be like, "Can you look this animal in the eye and still eat it?" And
Yeah.
you know, trying to get people to move to vegetarian. And I believe, yeah, you know, if you can, you should
I
be
mean,
able
personally,
to.
yeah, I'd be okay with it. You know, I buy a piece of pork and it's got a little picture there. It said, "This is Daisy, and she lived for this many years in this kind of conditions." You know, like yeah, I'll buy that piece of beef or pork. You know,
Well,
like,
yeah,
reaffirming
but
your action.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then you got to think you go back to something like that. Then how far are you going to take it? Where did the animal live? What did the animal eat? Was the animal, you know,
well, you already do
raised?
that with the organic.
Well, yeah, I won't even eat anything organic. That just drives me nuts.
What was that cow's parents' names?
Yeah.
And his
Yeah,
grandparents.
Yeah,
What kind of
I
breeding
get
did
what
they
you're
have?
saying. Like not
What
too
was its
far.
blood type? What
Yeah.
was its what were its hopes and dreams?
I don't know. I mean, okay. So as a person that eats raw fish, specifically, salmon, for instance, is one of those
Fish don't
that
have
if you
feelings.
eat. Well, no, I'm not even talking about feelings. I'm more or less talking about from a scientific standpoint that the reason that you eat salmon that is farm raised versus wild caught, if you're going to eat it raw, it's safer for you to eat it because of the fact that they forced them to have antibiotics while they were being raised.
Right.
And they're far less likely to have parasites and all these other things when you eat them, you know. I mean, that's a different subject, I guess, from, 10 by 10 cages. They get water to swim around in.
Well, now
But
you're bringing up the body's natural immune system, which goes
yeah,
back
Now
to
you're throwing a whole different subject in there.
right. Well,
it,
which goes
well,
which
I didn't mean to
ties
throw a
back
tangent.
into. No, that's not really a tangent. It ties back into personal
Why commercial
responsibility.
farming is better as well.
No,
Oh,
no,
no. Okay. sorry.
naturally, no personal accountability. So when you're in the wild and you catch a fish and you eat it, it's going to be much
It-
better for your immune system because you're in that environment.
I mean, minus the parasites. If you eat it
Well,
raw. I mean, if you cook it, yeah, you're right. But
Well, I've had salmon that was, fresh, and I've had salmon that, farmed and then packaged. I've had that salmon, and to me, it's fresh, right out of the ocean. To me, that it tastes better, than something that's been farmed.
I mean,
I
I
think it has
can
better
I can get
flavor.
what you're saying, but I'm just saying only from a sushi standpoint, from eating it raw. It makes more sense to eat from a commercially viable area that they give it
Right,
antibiotics so they can't get parasites. Because one of the big things
right,
about eating raw fish, you can get parasites.
right.
Yeah.
So at the
Yeah.
very least, I understand why they do that. And the same for commercially grown, fucking pigs and cows and all this and that. It's literally to stop the possibility of mad cow disease and all these other
Right.
diseases you can get from animals. So I understand why they commercially do it. And the space thing, I understand why they do it, because if you're gonna raise that many animals, you're not gonna have enough space to be able to do it. But I mean, look, I guess my argument on that whole thing is a 10 by 10 cell versus a 6 by 6 cell. What are you really doing for that animal?
Give them a little bit more extra space to move around. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about
It's-
it.
the
It's
cage
not
is the
really doing
cage.
much more. They're still gonna die. They're still gonna die at a certain time. It's literally, and it's not even combating a carbon footprint. If anything, it's making it worse because you have to have the facility to be larger, which means they have more places they can shit, and it's literally going to. And I'm not even going pro capitalism on it. I'm just saying they're doing it because of a carbon footprint.
And the carbon footprint's not going to change.
Yeah, it's literally
It's
not going
not.
to change if you give more space, and it's
No.
not going to make their living conditions 10 times better. It's not even going to make the ham taste better. I guarantee you,
No.
if they have 4 more extra feet to move around. I mean, they're fucked. They're pigs.
Yeah. Well, at the root of it, it's projecting personal empathy on animals.
Yeah,
Farm
yeah.
animals.
You're actually right. Yeah,
That you're
it's trying
right,
to take
right there.
take a
You hit the nail on the
moral.
head.
Yeah, you're literally trying to make yourself feel better by giving these pigs a little bit of extra space. No, it's not going to work.
Yeah, Austin hit it right on the head, the nail.
Yeah.
He hit it right there. So it's making somebody feel better. Is it doing anything different for the animal? Not really.
That's
Is
kind
it?
of what I'm saying. And again, I
the
wasn't
reality-
arguing with you on that, Xana. I just wanted to hear your standpoint and kind of bounce off it.
Oh, you're fine. I don't think it makes a difference on the animal's life. I just think if there's laws and rules, then they should be concrete and regulated appropriately. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Well,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, though.
it makes perfect sense.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and
if you're going to make a law change, make something that will actually make a difference.
Absolutely.
we just thought of it a couple of
Yeah.
minutes ago. It was if you want to eat
Yeah,
meat,
well,
if you really want to make a law that changes the or impacts the lives of animals, release them all into the wild, and legalize hunting.
Yeah.
And if you want meat, you can hunt for it or you can grow it yourself. That's
do
I-
it yourself. Take care of it.
realistic legislation that would be passed.
I will give one argument against what you're saying, but it's not like I agree with the premise 100%. But I will say that as many people as I've known in my life, a lot of them, I would not consider giving a gun to hunt because they
Well,
might shoot
that's
themselves in the
whole-
foot.
That's a whole.
I know it's a totally different argument.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
That's
Let them do it. I don't care. Let them shoot
Well,
themselves in the foot.
that's
What do I
how.
care?
Yeah, that's how God separates the stupid people.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
It's called human selection there.
Yep.
Human,
That's
yeah,
selection,
and
yeah.
we don't have to do nothing about it. Just hand them a weapon
Yeah,
and the bullet,
listen.
and see what happens.
Yeah, listen, God just opened the dam on the gene pool, and it's up to us to allow it to purge
Yeah.
itself and to trickle
And
out.
Yep.
I think it's it's going to be purged here shortly, I'm sure. It'll take a
Yeah.
couple of years, but it's not going to take that long for all those people that went and got that nasty ass shot that we got to have this. Yeah, I don't think so, but we're not going to get into that tonight, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
'Cause if
probably
we
not.
do, boy, it's going to open the floodgate.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah,
You
next
guys
one,
all
David?
know my position on that.
Well, the only other thing I wanted to say to that is AOC is going after farting cows, and it's like everybody farts, every cow farts, every animal farts, and you know.
I guarantee you, I fart more than most cows. But go ahead. Sorry.
I know, right? A lot of us do, and we don't even contain. At least the farms contain the methane and use it to power up their facilities. You know.
Right.
You sit
Donnie
there breaking
literally-
down-
Yeah. Well, my boss Donnie literally told me that that my farts, if he had taken all my farts in a symphony over time, he would have actually had like an entire conglomerate enough to play Beethoven.
There you go. There you go. And power the piano to play it by itself.
Yep.
Nasty.
I've had some that came out and then others that like fucking questions and shit.
Those squeaky ones are the ones you got to worry about.
You're right.
Oh hell.
Yeah, what's the next one, dude?
I lost my place.
Yeah,
now. I don't
David,
even know what the next one
So
is.
we have animals and we have farts and
Yeah, we got a whole slew of things.
Well,
We're super smart right now.
the stupid people, and I shouldn't say the stupid people. I should say the ignorant people that don't realize. Before the U.S. was conquered, shall we say, because it really was. It wasn't just given to us. We had to take it. There was more bison, millions and millions of bison roaming the West. Okay. We don't have as many cows as we had bison back then.
Yep.
In the
That's
whole
true.
United States, there were more bison than people, and that are now. There was
And they were
hundreds of
farting a lot back then too.
millions, yeah. And so you telling me that those bisons weren't farting?
No, they were.
I'm
No, they
thinking
were
our
on a-
carbon
they were-
footprint is probably a lot less now because the bison aren't here.
Oh yeah.
They were actually on a vegan diet. They were eating grass.
Yeah. There you go.
So they weren't
We were
farting as
vegan.
much.
Yeah, there was a vegan society right there.
Well,
Interesting
took
fun fact
advantage of
to add to what you just said is that the U.S.'s carbon footprint is actually not one of the top ones now.
No, it's
No.
not.
I'm pretty sure it's below
We're
the
like
top
number-
10.
Like
No,
China,
we're like
India, right?
we're at number 5 or number 6 for carbon.
Yeah,
footprint
China and
for the
India
world.
are above for sure.
Yes. Actually, I think we were higher than India,
No, I don't think I would fight that one.
and which totally, I'm pretty sure it was, and it stunned me. All right, who's got a keyboard? They can look it up. Look for
Well,
our carbon footprint, worldwide carbon footprint.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Those
the
are
I,
worldwide.
As
I
long as
gotta,
we're talking about it.
I've got to point out though that if there's a reason why China and India have a higher carbon emission than we do, it's in all reality, it's because of us. So
Oh,
It is
because
because they're
buy their shit?
manufacturing stuff that we don't.
yeah, right.
All right, who's logged in?
So it says in 2019,
Me.
U.S. greenhouse gas emissions totaled to 6,558 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. Equivalents or 5,769 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent.
We got joined by another one of our people on our Discord. You want to say hi and let everybody know who you are? So
I'm Floyd. Hey.
Oh, hey Floyd. Yeah, we're
gotta-
we're doing the
We're
doing
doing
the
a podcast.
podcast thing.
Oh,
You're
okay, cool.
just in
I
time.
gotta switch thing on 1 second.
yeah, you split me and Xana up. It just doesn't look right no more.
Well, that's the
on my
only
screen,
downside
anyways.
to that's the only downside to this is the
Okay, so Jimbo, I found the numbers you were talking about.
Okay, yeah, all right. Hit me.
Okay, so China, their number, I'm not exactly sure what GT means, but China is at
Gross tons.
10.06.
That would be
Um,
probably the tonnage that they're putting out per year.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Carbon.
or yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, so global tons. So they
Yep.
put out 10.06 global tons. You're actually right. The U.S. is 5.41 global tons, and surprisingly,
Oh,
India
where do
is
we live?
2.65, which is that one
Yeah.
does actually surprise me a little bit.
Looks like
Yeah,
we lost Floyd
that's
again.
the one. That one surprised me too.
Yeah.
Did
What'd
we
you
lose
say?
Floyd again, or
No,
we're
no,
back?
Floyd's here.
No, I'm here.
Who
I'm
did
He's
here.
we
here.
lose? Or what happened there?
We didn't
Nobody.
lose anybody.
Oh, you turned your camera off, so it readjusted itself
I
again.
went and got me something to drink. I went and
There
got
you
me
go.
something to
No,
Yeah,
drink.
there-
That's all.
he's back on. He's back on.
I got to keep moving my picture around.
Yeah, and I do agree that you're right to some extent that yeah, China does. They're a major manufacturer for what the U.S. takes in. I do agree with
Consume.
that.
Yeah.
I do have an argument on it though that we're not the only ones that buy from China. Europe
Absolutely
is a
not.
big buyer.
Yes.
South America is. I mean, a lot. The U.S. is not the primary consumer of Chinese goods. Well, I
Oh.
mean, they might be the primary, but they're not the only one. We'll say that.
No, that was I didn't say that to be completely naturally self-deprecating. But to say that to completely dismiss ourselves from any carbon emissions completely and just throw
Oh
it on
no,
China
no.
would be
Yeah, no,
irresponsible.
yeah. No, I wasn't saying that, but what I was saying, like, okay, I guess the reason I was putting that argument forward was because of what we do with the whole what is the Paris Climate Accords.
That's a
we
waste of time.
do more. Well, yeah, but we do more to actually try to help with that than any other country does, and that part has
Right.
actually been proven.
Yeah,
that's why Trump pulled us out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The United States is paying for everybody else,
Yeah.
and it's just like, why?
And nobody else was meeting their metrics. Nobody else was
No.
lowering their carbon footprint the way they were saying that they were going to. They weren't even getting close. That's the really sad part.
Yeah,
Like it kind of looked like they were just taking money to kind of funnel it wherever they wanted, but they weren't actually doing anything to try to make it better.
No, I'm sure it was going into a lot of politicians' pockets, and that
Oh, yeah.
and now it is
No,
again
no.
because our
No.
brilliant
No,
instar president
no.
put us
No.
back in there. Who's saying no?
You're
Austin.
wrong, sir.
Okay, so
I'm wrong. Okay. You don't think it's getting funneled back into the United States in some politician's pocket somewhere?
It's doing good for the world, okay? So just stop. Just stop. Stop
I-
your
I-
denial.
I can literally
Not
like
like that.
feel the sarcasm seeping from his voice. It's like,
Right? That's why I'm laughing, because it's just like, okay.
no, that's the thing.
this is
Yeah,
this is-
it's the Paris Climate Accord was a joke. It still is a joke.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just like the
Greta
World Health
Thunberg is a fucking
Organization,
joke.
It's a joke.
This
Yeah.
is one
It's
good
just-
But she's
thing.
the expert.
Mm.
This is one good
It's just
thing I
another-
could say came from COVID-19, which it says that in 2020, carbon emissions fell by 6.4%, or 2.3 billion tons of carbon.
Thank you,
Of
China,
CO2.
for shutting down.
You
Yep.
will not believe. You would not believe what LA looked like during the pandemic.
Oh,
It was clear blue skies. You could see everything. It was beautiful. It
I
was
bet
a breath of
Albuquerque looked
fresh
pretty
air.
nice too.
Believe it.
Oh. And then once that one week that everyone just decided to like get the fuck out of their house, it was shit again. It was a cloud of shit. It went
No.
straight
got the
back to
brown
it.
cloud again.
Yep.
Yep. Well, it's just like living in LA. If you got a nice westerly wind that's blowing east, there's a big Santa Ana, You don't see any smog. You don't see any nothing over LA. And the minute that wind stops blowing, everything just kind of comes right back down off the mountain and sits right on top of LA again. You can't get rid of it.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Isn't
but
California
but
in a bowl?
yeah. Well,
It's a
I
giant
was gonna
trench.
say if you try to take a good long hike through LA, you'll at the end of your run you'll end up with a bunch of hypodermic needles in the bottom of your feet.
Or shit. You know, you
Or
shit.
they actually have an app out that you can take a picture of poop on the street and send it to them, and they'll have to send a clean out crew to go and clean it all
Oh
up.
God.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
what
also
else?
alerts other people using the app that not to watch their step in that area.
Oh.
Literally a poop GPS.
Buddy.
That's fucking
There you go.
stupid.
Yep. And you
I'm
know,
watching you, dog.
what
I
I'm
think it's
wondering,
pretty sophisticated.
what
I
I'm
mean,
wondering
ancient
is-
Rome didn't have that.
no,
No, Austin. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, think about it. Like, people are so stupid they have to use an app to literally tell them where shit is on the street.
they tell the city
That's
where to
pretty
clean
bad.
up.
It sounds like we're at the.
I'm sorry. I'm so over that California crap. You know, clean your streets
Let's move.
up. You moron.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Let's move on to New York, David.
Oh, New York. You want to talk about New York? Oh shoot. So New York got a new mayor and a new governor. New York City got a new mayor, and New York itself got a new governor. Both of them have already gone to town on making the state even worse. One of them, the
Yeah,
mayor-
and
Surprise.
didn't think that was possible, but yeah, they did it. The mayor
Yeah.
made it possible for everybody, all the illegal immigrants, to vote local elections now. You
Yep.
know, California is
Dreamers.
just as bad. You come across the border, you automatically get a
Yeah,
driver's
the dreamers,
license,
yep.
and you're automatically registered to vote when you come across the border. I'm like, that's bullshit. I'm
Yep.
sorry. You're not a
I
U.S.
had to work
citizen.
harder for
What the hell
that
are
for
you?
my life.
Who in the hell are you to tell me who my president or whoever is going to be? You don't.
Well,
You may live here, but you're not from here.
and that's the thing. They're
Yeah.
pushing that though for a reason, because they want the illegals to start voting, so it gives them the upper
Yeah.
hand. It's only
Yeah.
one political party doing it. But the other thing too is that when you get down to it, you get people like AOC voted into office who, you know, again goes after farting cows, or says, what was that vegetable that she says should be grown?
Oh, she said she wanted yucca grown in New York instead of cauliflower because she said it was racist that they grew yucca in New York, even though the climate in New York is not
I was gonna
freaking
say,
made for yucca.
You
But
Yeah.
whatever.
grow that up north. No,
But is
Yeah.
is so yucca is I take it's a Mexican.
Yeah,
plant.
or
So
well,
Mexican
not
origin.
just Mexican. It'd be
southern.
equatorial. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So is it also racist to breed Mexicans in New York?
sure. Why not?
Ooh,
I don't
it
know.
might
they're,
be.
They're breeding all the time. We can't get them to stop sometimes. And we don't. We
So
here on
should-
BGC don't mean any disrespect to any race or culture. In fact, you can
No,
tell
no,
we're racist.
absolutely not. I'm just pointing out the absurdity of that
Yeah,
logic.
you hear that, Xana? You live in Montana. You can't have any more babies.
I live in Wyoming.
She lives in
Wyoming,
Wyoming.
I'm sorry.
I can have two now.
Yeah, she's in Wyoming. I'm in Montana. Damn it!
Yeah.
You keep
Okay,
your liberal
well,
shit out of my state. I don't care.
Okay, sorry, Xana. Because of the fact that you're a Hispanic culture, you can't have babies in Wyoming. Not allowed.
It's kind of racist. So,
Yeah.
because it's not native to Wyoming. So
No.
Now wait a minute. I
Yeah.
thought she would be prohibited to go to New York and have babies.
Now we're opening another
Probably.
can of worms.
That might be.
Oh man.
I mean, where she lives is fine. I mean, that's her native. Where she's from. Now,
Right.
if she wanted to
No,
go to
she's
New York
not.
and have babies, that would be no. You can't do that.
No, Floyd. She's not from there.
Well, she lives there, doesn't she?
Yeah, but she's not from there originally. Yeah,
It
that's what I'm
don't-
saying.
it
That's what
doesn't
Austin
matter.
was saying.
It doesn't matter. That's where she's from now.
Speaking of AOC,
That's
Wyoming cannot.
Yeah, that's
Wyoming.
where Mexicans originate from. That's the point. It's
Texas.
semantics. It's semantics.
Yeah.
Lloyd.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Speaking of AOC,
So the entire, yeah.
um,
So the
I'll be
entire
right back.
Mexican race started in Montana, right? I mean, Wyoming.
All right, whoa. Don't include this
Listen.
bullshit with Montana.
Yeah,
Leave
okay.
Montana the hell out of this crap. I'll be right back.
Listen,
So
Floyd,
it,
what you really need to do is just go and lose your mind and stop thinking for yourself.
Well, I've already done that.
And that
I mean, that's my native thing now. I mean, don't think for yourself. Think for everybody else.
speaking of AOC, she recently complained about Florida not encouraging the mask mandates and the vaccination mandates. But then she's caught in Florida having no mask on, sitting there drinking at a club or a bar with her boyfriend,
Right.
and then goes
I think
off
she was
on
drinking a
Republicans.
mojito.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was a mojito. And then she goes off on Republicans because I guess one might have asked her on a date or asked her out or something like that, and she got offended by
Well, he
it.
was just desperate. That's all.
I know, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
you have to be literally.
Well,
Yeah.
but that was her argument though. That everybody is just mad at her because they don't want to date her or because she doesn't want to date them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, is she ugly?
When she smiles, she looks
I
like a
guess it depends
donkey,
on who
so,
you ask. I think she looks like a donkey, but
Floyd.
Yeah.
Well, then you know, if she's ugly, nobody wants to date her anyway. I mean,
No,
But that's-
somebody
but
is
that's
dating
not
her.
true.
That's the thing. Somebody is dating her,
Oh.
and
well,
Listen,
okay.
yeah.
All right,
she
then.
throws
Is
she
he
throws little
ugly?
tantrum fits.
realistically,
and as much as she is angry about like race and white privilege and shit like that, yeah, the guy she's
Right.
dating is white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And
Yeah.
and to top it off, I just read in the news today she now has COVID. After her second booster, she now
Oh.
contracted COVID.
Yeah,
So-
big surprise.
Well, you know,
So-
if you go to the doctor right now, you're going to have COVID no matter what you got.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So
they're also talking about doing another rounds of government aid stimulus for COVID.
government
So-
AIDS stimulus.
Government AIDS. Yeah, they're gonna give you
AIDS?
AIDS now. Yeah, they're gonna give you AIDS to combat COVID because,
Wait,
Are they going to do
listen.
another?
What?
Literally, my wife got angry when she heard that they might do another stimulus check. She literally got pissed off because of it.
well,
Why?
she
a lot of
should.
people are pissed.
Yeah.
Well, no, she was mad because of the whole child tax credit thing that they were giving people by default, and you had to sit there and actually tell them no. And we didn't get there in time, so we ended up getting the child tax credit. Now our fucking taxes are going to be fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that wasn't cool that they did it by default. You should have been able to elect if you wanted it,
but
but not
Yeah.
sit there
take
and
it.
be like, yeah, you get it, and then you decide if you don't want it,
Right.
within a certain amount of time. That was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been way better if they would have said, hey, if you want the child tax credit, go to the IRS.gov and say, hey, I want this.
Right.
They didn't do that. They're just like, no, you get it by default. Okay, so thanks for screwing everybody's fucking taxes over. So
Right.
itemizing, people do itemizing and run businesses and things like that. Their taxes are going to be screwed now this year. All of it, especially if they have kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And I looked at the numbers too. It'll cut it in half, if not more.
That's part of the.
And we're coming up on that.
That's part of the Build Back Better plan.
I'm kind of curious. Actually, I'm curious, Xana. Did you get the child tax credit thing this year?
I haven't gotten mine from 2020.
Damn.
No. I'm talking about it was a monthly thing that they gave you to
Yep.
pay for your. You didn't get it?
I didn't get it. I didn't get my
Okay,
tax
then-
credit from 2020 or the monthly payments. I only got my first stimulus check. I've tried to reach out for it, and nothing.
Okay,
You can't
then-
even talk to anybody.
No,
Well,
Yeah.
The IRS you can talk to. We have a
Oh, okay.
That's
Ish.
here in town. Yeah, ish.
You
But
The IRS here keeps giving me the runaround. I didn't get the first stimulus. I got the second one. Didn't get the third
Well,
one.
that's
Right.
a good thing, Xana, because that means they probably won't mess with your taxes. Your taxes
Yeah.
this year should probably be normal.
Right.
I hope so.
But
Yeah,
remember, they're
unless they
hiring on-
wheld it.
Remember, they're
Go
going to
ahead.
be hiring on like an additional 40,000 IRS agents to look at everybody's bank accounts.
Yeah, because they need more of those fuckers.
But I
Yep.
do have
What-
something to say on the topic that we just covered. I didn't get a chance to butt in.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah.
I was trying to give you chances. I'm sorry.
So, about the whole New York allowing immigrants to vote, I believe that if they have a green card or a visa, or if they've been living in the United States, they should be able to vote.
Legally, or are you including illegals?
Illegals and legals. If you are living in the country if you're illegally living here, you should still be able to vote. You have to be here for a certain amount of time, though. I would say 5 years.
I still disagree, and the only reason I disagree is because if you break the law, there should not be a time limit on how long it takes for you to get back to where you fucking belong.
Yeah.
If you come here illegally, you should not be able to vote.
No,
No.
That's how I
you're
view
still-
it. Because I mean, Xana, think about it this way: if you go down to Mexico to vacation for say a month, 30 days, right? Should you be able to vote on their local elections if you happen to
No,
be
if
down
you
there
don't have a
during that
permanent
time?
residence. If they have a permanent residence here and they're living under our law, they should be able to vote for our stuff.
Well, they
But
broke
that's
our
the
law to
problem.
get
They're not here under our law. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
they're illegal.
They're still
broke-
technically
broke the law.
citizens of whatever country they came from. They're not legal United States citizens. And
Right.
the
Yeah,
they get
voting
paid-
is
they
only
get-
for legal United States citizens. It's in the
Yeah.
Constitution.
They get paid under the table. They're
Right.
here because people didn't want to necessarily put them on like official dockets and stuff like that. Those are illegals. Those are people that are not here, and they shouldn't be here.
Okay.
They broke the
Well,
law to
then-
get here.
Well, then if you have a visa or a green card, you should be able to vote. Like
Okay,
if-
I agree with that.
If they
But-
apply for citizenship, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if they
But
apply for
what I'm
citizenship.
saying, Xana, is there's an interesting set of laws in the U.S. that basically says if you've ever committed a felony, that you cannot vote and you cannot own a gun.
Right.
You ever hear that?
Yeah, I think I don't agree with it personally. Because
Okay,
if
well,
you're a
but-
felon, you should still be able to vote. Voting shouldn't be capped.
Well, you think if somebody killed fucking 20 people and they're in jail for the rest of their life, they should be able to vote?
I think everybody should be able to vote. Maybe not own a gun. That's different. But everyone that lives under the same roof should be able to vote for the things that happen.
I don't know. Someone doing
So you think it's
lifetime in
okay-
prison, I don't think they're gonna really have a choice when it comes down to who's the president because
Well,
they're not gonna be able to
and
benefit from it.
And again, I'm not really arguing with you. I'm more or less just trying to figure out your point of view.
But some felons aren't even in jail for life.
You're saying some, but I'm saying like, okay, so I know that you're very like pro mental people trying to help them out, things like that when they
Yes.
have issues. But what I'm saying is, say you have those people that can't be helped, and I'm sure you've dealt with people like that. That don't want to be helped, don't care. They want to kill people. They want to skin animals. They want to do whatever the hell they're going to do because they're just fucking nuts. You think those people should be able to vote?
I think everyone should have a
Oh.
say on what happens, regardless of how you agree or disagree with the life decisions that they make. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Everyone should
Well,
be
you're-
entitled to use, be able to be
I-
like, oh, do I want this, or should this go or this go, and be able to come up with an educated, vote on what's going on or what's not going
Well,
on. regardless-
Educated is a key word there.
Yes.
It would be more complete, universal.
What's your view, Zimbo?
You don't want to know my view
Sure I do.
because I can see her point of view, because they are residing in the United States. I'm talking about felons.
Right.
I can see her point of view because they are still residents of the United States. I can see her point of view, but it's our laws, and that's you break the law. I'm sorry, you do the crime, you need to do the time.
Right.
If you break the law, then you're breaking the rules that were set down and set forth way before we ever got here. And this is how our country has been running for 200 years. I'm thinking that you can't just come in and say, oh no, they can vote now. No, that's not how it works.
Right. If you break the law, you should lose something.
Yeah. So
Well,
why should I have to pay for somebody else's mistake? Because it all comes back around to that again.
So what if you're in jail? What if you're in jail for evading income tax?
Well, is that a felony?
White collar.
Okay.
Evading income tax theft. But here's the other thing
But
too
income,
is that
but income tax is theft, and it's against our Constitution.
Right.
Well, not according to the Supreme Court, but
it's actually a criminal law. No, it's a criminal law.
Really?
Tax
according to the people, which owns this country, which we like to forget that we own this country, and that we've allowed our country, our government.
Oh, you're talking about like the Boston Tea Party taxation or what is it?
I'm talking just about human existence in general.
Right.
That your income that you work for should not be garnished by your government and then taxed later after that multiple times. Your income should not be taxed. It is theft. And yet we go along with it. And if someone goes to jail for it, it's okay. Yeah, well, you should have paid your taxes, bud.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking the same thing with when somebody dies and you would gain their if your parent dies and you gain their inheritance, they charge you the inheritance tax, which is stupid because they already taxed the person when they first got the item. You taxed them for if it's a house, you tax them when they purchased the house. You tax them every year to keep the house, and then when they die, you tax the loved ones to obtain that house.
Well, I mean, now we're getting to a subject of like government overthrow. So I mean, that's not.
Well,
before we jump into that.
Well, so my whole point. My whole.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, my whole point was on what Jimbo was saying about if you break the law, you deserve to be in jail. But it is still up to us, the people, to discuss the righteousness of laws and not leave it up to the powers that be. Not just blindly trust that the laws that we have in our lives are actually fair and equitable. Right. So,
I mean,
people that are in jail for pot having found pot on them, like a little bag of pot.
Yeah. Right.
Should they be in jail for 10 years?
No.
No,
probably not.
Pretty well proven that.
I guess it kind of depends. I mean, if they're trying to sell like pot to fucking 3-year-olds, then yeah, that's probably not good. But
who is selling pot to 3-year-olds? I've never heard.
They're obviously not potheads.
Hey, you know what?
I mean, my stash is right up here. I got it.
I give them pot.
Well, okay, so I'll give you another example. My dad, for instance, he has a felony, and he went to jail for 3 weekends. And yes, I mean weekends. He went in on Friday nights and got let out on Sunday nights.
Right.
And he got a felony for giving away free satellite to elderly that couldn't afford it. And when I say free satellite, I mean like he took the circuit board that went inside the fucking decoder and jumped 2 wires.
Yeah.
That's all he did. And now he's not allowed to vote for the rest of his life, and he can never own a gun.
That's insane. That is insane.
And I feel it is. Well, now hold on. But my point is, to go back to what we were talking about, did he do anything worse than say somebody crossing a border or
No.
multiple borders to get to a
No.
country illegally.
No.
So if they have a right to vote, he should have a right to vote. Or more so than that, he should have a right to vote because his crime wasn't that bad, and they still should not have a right to vote. And it's only because they weren't here to the point to say, make the country great or do whatever they're doing. They're making a living. They're sending a hell of a lot of money back to their own home country to help their family, but they're not necessarily contributing to society. Like, they're not creating cures for cancer. They're not,
Right.
and you can argue with me on that if you want, Xana. But that's, I mean, as a vast majority, they're not actually contributing to the society here. Most of the immigrants that come to this country send money overseas. That's a statistical fact.
Yeah. They take away from the country.
Yeah. They're exploiting what they are given here to help
Yeah.
people that don't have it. Which
And
I'm
that's
not
why they-
saying what they're doing is bad as far as, morally, but it's not legal.
Plus, when they
And no
come
other
here-
country actually puts up with it except for ours.
Plus, when they come here, they
Oh.
get free health care, free food, free medical, free schooling.
Mm-hmm.
They get
and everybody keeps saying it's free. It's not free. It's costing us money. They're raising our taxes
it's-
to pay for.
Yeah,
It's not free money.
Tax-
to
Taxpayers do have to
them,
pay
to them
for it.
it's free because they don't pay for it.
Yeah.
Us as
Yeah.
taxpayers
Right.
We're
pay
paying
for it.
for it. We're paying
We're
for
paying
it.
Yeah.
for it, and it should be up to the people that are paying
Plus,
for it.
a
you
lot
know,
of them are
Who's going to get it and why?
Yeah, and plus
Right.
a lot
So-
of them
so-
are girls who are coming here who are pregnant at the time, and then they're
Yeah.
having their child here.
Right.
Which I think the law that natural where it came after slavery.
Naturalized citizens.
Yeah, natural citizen. It came after slavery to make every single slave a legal United States citizen brought here by another
Right.
country.
Right.
Okay, it served its
And-
purpose. Now it needs to be removed because it's an incentive for others to come here so they can have their child.
thought
and their
they
child
had-
becomes a U.S. citizen.
I thought they had removed that. I thought they removed that
haven't.
law.
That's-
No, it's not
as far as
removed.
Oh,
still
I
remember,
thought
so
they had.
Let's see.
Oh,
If
okay.
you can
I
find
thought-
a way that it has, it's pretty. Okay. So, anyways, beyond what we just talked about. So, Xana, after hearing what we just said in our arguments, what we're saying, do you still feel the same way?
Our justice system has been flawed for hundreds of years, couple hundred of years. I
It's been
feel
compromised.
that it has been compromised. And they teach you that in school. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice that I just graduated from, and they teach you how it's flawed, where areas that we need to improve, that we will not improve. And that's exactly how the professors lay it out too. And I think knowing where we're flawed and not putting an action toward whether someone given free services to the elderly is charged just as much as someone that's, wearing faces is totally obscene and I've heard of. And I feel like it comes down to the point of how good your lawyer is, how much money you got. And I
That's
feel
all it is anymore.
totally
It's
flawed.
who's got the better lawyer?
because it's not it shouldn't be a money game. It should be a morality game of if you're going to provide services or if you're going to do obscene things, then you should be looked upon that. And that should
Well, actually,
and it's
Xana,
been for a
th-
while that you are guilty until proven innocent. It's been like that for
Yeah.
a very long time.
and Xana, to go even further to it. So I said earlier about going to Mexico. What if you wanted to go to, say, Switzerland? You just flew there. You got a ticket and you went.
Okay.
So if you are there for a little while and you do a few things, say even 3 months, do you think that you should be able to have the same rights as the people who've lived there their entire lives and made their living? Do you think you should have the same rights?
I think it should be after a couple of years. Then yeah, if I'm able to be there for a couple of years, I should be able to help vote on what's going on because after a couple of years, you have an idea of how everything is.
So okay. So by that argument, that same argument,
Oh,
say if
Uh-oh.
there's a store that you really like going to,
Mhm.
right? And say you went into that store and you stole, walked out with something, never got caught, never got in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you should be allowed to go back in that store 3 years later?
I don't understand what relevance this has to. What's
Well, it's more specific to me because it's something I had to deal with that teenage kid that came in our shop and vandalized it. Should I forgive him after a couple of years because he broke the law a couple of years ago?
it depends
You
what your
know-
policies are.
Yeah. If you know who it is,
Well,
no, you
the
shouldn't.
policies of the country, if you come in the country illegally, it's illegal and you broke the law.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm comparing a store to a country is what I'm saying. If you look at the store, it's a ma and pa shop, and this one kid stole from you, and you know, 2-3 years later, do you just blindside it and decide to let him in no matter what? Let him steal again?
Do you
I
know
don't
who the
know.
person is?
Give them that second shot. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a rough one because you're not, don't shit where you eat. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. That's what people who come to the country illegally are doing.
it
They're
depends.
literally breaking the law to
under-
get here.
It depends under circumstances too. Like if you're just being dumb, okay, and you're coming in the store stealing some shit, is different if you need to go into that store and get actual help. Like if something's actually going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Okay,
you
so
open
how do
Pandora's
you
box
determine
again.
that? Yeah, how
Yeah.
do you determine that?
Well, so and
Because
you-
because it's all subjective. You have people that come from Mexico or even they go to the Middle East and fly to Mexico and come into the country from there. How do you tell which person is there for the right reasons?
I
Well,
think it
you can't.
depends
You
on
can't.
that country's under war or not. Because if people are
Well,
fleeing for their
it doesn't
lives-
matter if they're under war. They're not supposed to be here. Germany took a whole bunch of refugees, right,
Mhm.
from the Middle East, and Poland
Oh.
said, "Fuck off." They didn't take
Yeah.
anybody.
Yep.
So who's in the right?
So they just didn't take any of those people and then just let them face their own fate.
Come on.
They let them go
somewhere
wherever
else.
they got to. Yeah.
Yep. Go somewhere else. You're not staying here.
And they ended up in several other countries in Europe, but they did not go to Poland. Poland was like, "Fuck off. We're not taking anybody."
I believe Poland said that their economy could not handle having anyone else come in.
That was their excuse, but the main reason was they didn't want illegal people coming in.
And there's
Well,
I mean, it's not to say that it's not unfortunate that people are going through bad times in whatever country that they're in, but it doesn't mean that they can sit there and break the law of whatever country they're trying to go into, and it's okay after a couple of years because I've been here.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
You know what I mean?
No, that's wrong.
I'm gonna finish my train of thought from the question that I was asked. I never finished. So
Yeah, good.
Oh, sorry about that.
I can see
Sorry.
Xana. No, that's all good. Xana, I can see your point of view. I can. And I totally sympathize with what you're trying to say. But in reality, when you're breaking a law to get privilege, because it is privilege to come into the United States, it's a privilege to be a citizen of the United States. Now, we have laws stating that if you're a citizen of the United States, you can vote for president or mayor or whoever. Non-citizens are not able to do that for the reason that they're not citizens. You go to any country in the world and try to vote in their elections, you can't. Why? Because you're not a citizen. I can't remember which country it is. It's either, I'm thinking it's Italy. You actually have to live in the country for 10 years before you can register to vote, to be, even though
Become a
you moved
citizen.
there, your residence is there, but you still can't vote because you haven't been there for 10 years. That's their law. So, I can't see how somebody can say, well, if they're correct, if there are, like our immigration laws, if you're coming from a country because you're feeling threatened or, something's going on there, the cartels are out of hand, you're fleeing for your life, that's different. We have laws that cover that. And we let people in because of that. But what this administration has done has opened the gate. They're letting anybody in for any excuse. and they have lawyers on the other side of the river there telling everybody what to say when they get here. I am, being whatever. And we automatically have to take that person. Now, I don't think that's right. Morally, I think it's wrong. If you're fleeing just because you want to come to the United States and have a better life, then do it legally. Do it the way we have thousands of people are waiting to become U.S. citizens. They're paying their lawyers. They're learning our culture. They're doing everything that they're supposed to do. These people that are coming to the United States right now, they're not doing nothing. But yet we're giving them a big fat check. We're giving them housing. A lot of them are living in hotels right now. We can't even get our veterans off the street.
Mm-hmm.
To me,
Right.
that's not fair. I can see our veterans out on the street right now. They're cold. They're homeless.
Right.
But we're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars every day to house illegal immigrants that crossed our border illegally. They just strolled across and they got let in. My tax dollars are now paying to house those illegal immigrants in all the hotels that, hell, I wish I could stay in. Some of those are 4 or 5 star hotels. Hook me up.
I bet you not one of them
You
is
know,
Trump's hotels.
There you go. That's fine with me too. It doesn't matter whose hotel it is. It's just
I'm curious. Floyd was going to say something too when
it's
you're
not
done.
legal.
Oh, I forgot what it was. Go ahead. I'm listening to y'all.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
it may be morally right to let these people in, but legally, it's not right. I could see letting them in because they're fleeing something bad, something terrible. Okay, and you can agree with that. I know I can see your head bobbing up and down, so I hope
I
you're
can't
agreeing.
do. Yeah.
But letting them in just because they want to be here, and it's costing us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars per person every day for them
not
to
right.
be here,
That's
it's not right.
No.
I have
Well,
kids that
and-
they're having a hard time to find a place to live, but yet we're
Well-
housing illegal immigrants all over the damn place now. We're even housing them here in
One of the-
Montana.
One of the biggest things that you're saying on Jimbo is as far as the numbers of people that are coming over, statistically, it's like 60. I think it's like 60 to 65% male, single.
Yeah. Yes.
They're
Those are the
coming
people that are
here
crossing over.
when they were
And we don't know
interviewed,
nothing
too.
about them. And we don't
So
know
it's
nothing
not,
about them.
and it's not single mothers. It's not. It's. I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist. They're there, but I'm saying statistically, it's mainly male, single men that are actually immigrating. And yeah, you can
And-
Google that.
And when they were
Yeah, and
interviewed
then-
too, they were saying they were coming here for the opportunities, not because they were fleeing something. They were here because
Yeah.
Right.
of the financial
They're coming-
opportunities that they can get.
Right. And you want to come here for financial opportunities, do it legally. Come across the border. And, hey, you know what? I would like to be a U.S. citizen. What do I have to do?
Go to a point
You
of
know-
entry.
Well, no, honestly-
it's not just coming across the border. Go to a point of entry where we actually have,
Yeah.
people set up
People
to-
waiting.
to
Yes.
actually,
I mean-
do that.
Honestly, if they would have waited for enough time, it would have had a big boom of people coming over. And a good example of that is after World War II, Germany was hurting for workers,
Mm-hmm.
and they ended up immigrating a whole bunch of people from Turkey. And that's why the guy that was in our server, Abdi, he was explaining to me why Turkish Germans are not the same as German Germans. And it's
Right.
because they came in all at the same time. And they have their own areas and where they deal with and whatever they do. But it was all legal.
Right.
And that they needed a workforce at that time, and that's why they immigrated. And that's why if people quit breaking the law as far as crossing the border,
Well,
as far as coming up to the U.S., then if they waited long enough, we would actually need the manpower to build certain things and capitalize. That's the whole point of capitalism.
Right.
Well, the biggest thing is that, you know, there's a couple of us here that can understand and were taught in school. The reason why we closed Ellis Island is because we were
Yeah.
flooded so bad with immigrants that it was killing our economy. And right now, what they're doing is doing the same thing. They're going to kill our economy.
Yep.
And, you know, you can't put that many people into a workforce and say, hey, here you go. There's no jobs. All these job numbers that they keep coming up with, oh, there's so many more people off unemployment, they're getting back to work. No, they're full of shit. They're not going back to work. Their unemployment ran out. So what are they doing now? They're applying for welfare. So here we go again. We're supporting our own people, okay, because they can't go back to work, because they have no job to go back to. A lot of people, a lot of businesses have closed because why? We killed their jobs. We killed the economy. And I can say that we did. We did it. It wasn't the politicians. It was we did it. We allowed them to do it.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
And that's
Austin,
the
any
buck stops
feedback?
with us. So, you know, like I said, I feel bad for some of them. You know, a lot of them that are coming here to try to have a better life and to get a fresh start and stuff like that. But there's a reason why we closed Ellis Island, and this is the reason why the border needs to be closed. Because if we don't, it's going to flood the market with so many people. It's not going to be sustainable. We're going to have more people on welfare than we will ever have in our lifetime because we have that many people in the United States. So you got 1.5 million people that came across the border. There's no jobs. So we're paying for 1.5 million people to have welfare right now, and medical, and school, and a place to live. Okay, so that's costing us billions of dollars a month. If they keep coming, that price tag is going to get higher and higher. And now,
And most of the people that are working aren't getting taxed either, so they're not actually putting money back into it.
Yeah, and so we're giving out all this free money, and they keep talking billions and billions. But you know what? Pretty soon it's not going to be a B anymore. It's going to be a T. We're going to be talking trillions of dollars, and that's where we're headed.
And they claim they do pay taxes, but that's them going to the store and buying stuff. They're paying taxes on what they buy, and that's everybody who comes here to visit the United States goes and pays taxes at the store. I mean, the store's not going to discriminate and say, "Oh, Andy's here from New Zealand. Oh yeah, we're not going to charge you taxes because you're from that." No, fuck that. You know, everybody gets charged taxes when they go purchase stuff.
I believe Wyoming is one of
unless
the
you're tax exempt.
that has that because, like, we don't get taxed on food. We get taxed on items and like beer and cigarettes and stuff.
Beer and cigarettes, you guys pay taxes on. In Montana, we don't have no sales tax, you know, but we make up for it with other taxes.
Yeah, that's true. We do.
So,
and, like in
you know, our
Tennessee, they have
property
no state
taxes
tax.
are everything.
Yeah,
Right.
in Tennessee, they have no state tax, but they do have a 9% shopping tax.
Sales tax.
Sales tax.
We have a tax on everything here.
Austin, do you have any feedback on any of this?
On the whole,
Austin?
Any
of it?
Yeah,
Is there anything that you want to add to anything that I might have been saying, or Xana, or?
How you like my hair?
Actually, I do like your hair. It's great.
Thanks.
It's very Mexican, actually.
Actually, I was going for a Dutch off of Red Dead Redemption 2 look.
You know, it's you made the comparison of a shop being broken into, or someone stealing from that shop.
Yeah.
But if it's staying consistent with that comparison, we essentially left the front door open and allowed that to happen time and time again.
Yeah.
But not for complacency's sake. It was purely political.
Diplomatic. Right.
It was political.
Um,
We like to forget that we're ran by a criminal syndicate,
Yeah.
and
That's pretty much what
it's
it's
beyond
become.
politics.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's been that way for decades, and we've liked to bury our head in the sand for years about this. But the fact is it is not political anymore. It is not a popularity contest. These people are bastards, and they're criminals,
Yep.
and they're evil,
Yep.
and they're not preaching or talking about ideologues to you. They're playing a game,
yeah.
and they've capitalized on the capitalist world. So they
Well,
follow suit.
Well, and that's kind of why I look at the whole Trump thing, because at least, when Trump went in, he kind of fought against what you're talking about as far as ideals, and you saw how they lashed out on it,
Well,
right?
Trump was blunt, and he
Yeah.
was the perfect representation of exactly what this country was intended to be. It wasn't supposed to be a nice place to live. It wasn't supposed to be a place where you felt good about life. It was a place to work. It was a place to live freely and to pursue your version of happiness.
Right.
Be your own badass.
Yeah.
Right.
BYOP.
Exactly.
And your version of happiness will probably offend other people. Will
Yeah.
probably make other people feel uncomfortable because you're
Yeah.
happy and they're not.
Right.
But they all had the same opportunity as you did.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten comfortable. We've gotten so comfortable, and we've created this collective version of happiness that we think that we should share it with the world, and that everyone should naturally
Right.
be entitled to it.
No, I
but
actually, you're right. You're right, and
it's-
we shouldn't.
But it's not so great. It's not so great living here in America. There's a lot of side effects involved with that mundane happiness. Because I don't care who you are, when you pass through your mother's legs, you understand that life is pain, and
Right.
that an excessive amount of comfort is actually, in a lot of ways, more harmful than not.
Yeah, I
There's
totally agree with that.
there's a certain healthy level of pain to be exposed to throughout life.
I completely agree with that.
Yep.
Completely. More kids need to be spanked for that reason.
Yeah. They do.
In Singapore, if you spit,
You're
if you
right
spit
there.
your gum out on the sidewalk, they will cane your ass until it bleeds. And I fully believe we should have that in America. I fully believe Americans need to be caned in the ass
Right.
Yeah,
severely.
Mhm.
Well, that's just my opinion, but
I'm not
I
going to
agree.
argue on
I'll
that
take
one.
a caning.
Okay.
I'll take a caning.
My
What's up,
opinion.
so
Floyd?
there's my input. Back to you
okay.
guys.
My opinion, short and sweet. If you are not a citizen of this country, you don't deserve the same rights we have, who are citizens. I'm not military or anything else. I was born and raised on a farm. So I know what it is to work. I know what it is to work for what you get. And that's my opinion on it. If you're a criminal, you don't deserve the same rights I have, because I'm not a criminal. You shouldn't have done the crime in the first place. Now,
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
That's your only
And
opinion?
yeah, no. I agree with what he's saying, and I'm kind of curious, like how many people crossing the border thought they were actually breaking the law. I'm gonna assume most of them knew they were doing something wrong.
Sure they did.
Because under Trump administration, they knew not to come here, and then all of a sudden, when Biden became president, all of a sudden they're flooding the
Yeah.
South.
And now the Supreme Court told them to reinstate the Trump rules, stay in Mexico,
Right.
and that hasn't stopped them because the Trump administration or the Biden administration is now asking the Supreme Court to reverse their decision.
Yeah.
So they're still flooding in. There's nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And
And Texas is actually doing the right thing. They're building the wall. Get it
yeah,
up.
and
Right.
You know,
And-
you're on the
and-
ground.
and-
Put the damn thing in place.
And Xana, I'll approach your perspective that you are Hispanic, Mexican descent, right? My wife
Understand that.
is also,
Right.
and she is still vastly against it. She is vastly against immigrants coming over, especially illegal. And her mother was from Mexico originally, and she is still massively against illegal immigration. She really is. I have not had to push her on it. I didn't have to coach her. I didn't have to tell her anything. She literally is just like, no, if you break the law, you break the law. It's like if our kids speed and they get a ticket, they're going to have to pay it. They're going to have to pay for the consequence. And it's the same for anybody that crosses a border you're not supposed to. It's, again, simplifying it. Yeah, I simplified it by saying if you go into a business and you vandalize it. But even more so than that, say if you go into somebody's farm, right? And you go to pick berries out of their farm that they got going. That's illegal. You know it is. There's a fence there for a reason. That's kind of the whole, simplified way of saying it. When people come over illegally, they know most of them know that they're doing it. They know that it's wrong. They know that they
99% of them.
shouldn't be doing it. Yeah. There might be a couple that don't. And like Jimbo was saying, there's going to be some that are going through some hardships. Those are special cases, and those need to be dealt with as such. But just letting everybody over willy-nilly and saying, oh, because you've been here for 2 years, we're just going to forget it. That's stupid. They broke the law 2 years ago. They still broke the law.
And it's
And
just like,
I'm just waiting for all the court cases to start popping up.
they
And
can't
who's
find
not
them
going?
to pop
Who's
them up.
right? Who's going to enforce the laws then? They took
Yeah.
ICE out of the picture. ICE ain't doing shit anymore, but sitting on their asses or helping the border patrol.
Well, they can't do anything.
there.
It's
Yeah.
that they're choosing to sit is they can't do anything because the Biden administration is telling them don't do anything. And then when they do try
Right.
before, when they were trying to do it, they're claiming, oh, well, the border patrol's whipping them now with the horses, with whips on horseback. And it's like, no,
Right.
actually, they're not whipping them at all. It's a divided reign, so people can't grab a hold of it and stop the horse. And,
Well,
you
the
know,
thing of it is that most people in the United States only saw one picture of the guy in front of the horse. They didn't see the picture from the other
You're
side.
So stupid.
Same picture. Didn't touch the
You're
people.
so
Wasn't even
stupid.
close. I'm so
Our
stupid. Why?
nation has become so new. No, our nation has become
No,
so
he didn't say
stupid.
you.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
Not
Yeah.
you.
oh, our nation? Yeah.
their nation
In
is-
general,
That's,
literally
I don't-
60 fucking years ago, we were riding horseback and we forgot that already. We forgot how riding horses
Well,
work.
it's based on
Because
perspective
it
of
becomes
so
generations. The now
place
generations
and-
is more about feelings, and if a picture can show something that makes them outraged, they're gonna follow it.
right.
Yeah, today's generation ate Tide Pods a couple of years ago. So
Well, so,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's
okay.
right.
Yeah,
Okay,
the Tide Pod challenge.
Okay, so let's for a second forget about all of that generational banter and think about America as a whole, because America is only not just America, the United States is only 250, let's just say 300 years old.
Right.
Relative
Yeah,
to,
close enough.
relative to the timeline of mankind, that's a very short amount of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Very, very short.
So
America's
We're still in our
always been here.
infancy.
What's happening? What's happening here? What in general? Like, take a step back from everything.
Well, we're doing everything different than they did before.
Well,
Like
what's
before, they
It-
did torture. They did.
what are we really doing though, Andy? What are we really doing? I don't think we know what we're doing as
Okay.
Americans.
Well,
we
no, no,
don't
no.
know what we're doing.
I'll give you an example. I will. I'll actually tell you. So one example is human torture was a big thing all the way up until the 1800s, and not just in other countries, but even in our own country. There was a form of torture that actually occurred in the United States called human halving. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't heard of that.
It's literally like the. You ever seen the man get sawn in half in the magic show?
Right.
Well, rather than magic, they actually cut him in half.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened all the way up to the 1800s in the United States and China and many other countries before that. So that's one thing that stopped. So no more torture, right? Big
Right.
thing happened in the U.S. Then because of stopping torture, it gave people freedom, a little bit of freedom. Not all freedom, not like you can do whatever the fuck you want, but like you fuck up, we'll do it. You know, that sort of thing. So they had a little bit of fear. And it created a culture that you could build on, but with a lot of fear behind it, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And now our country has moved to a point where that fear is no longer in the eyes of children. Like they didn't see what happened before. Because the 1800s, it was people being hanged, hands being cut. Any simple little thing that you fucked up with, you paid for it direly. And that's what our great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents and grandparents, that's what they tried to tell our children as we built this country. And now that we're at a point that those people are now dead, they don't have those stories to tell.
Right.
That's what we're
Well,
left
and
with. We're left with a built country
They're
that was
rewriting
built on
history.
that.
They're
Yeah.
rewriting
Yeah.
our history in schools. They're not
Yeah.
teaching the same history book that I had that taught our history is not being
Right.
taught anymore. They've rewritten
Yeah.
and they've taken a lot of the stuff out because it'll hurt somebody's feelings. I'm like, it's part of our history. You cannot erase our history. You cannot erase our past. If you erase our past, how are we supposed to learn from our mistakes? We can't, because
Yeah.
nobody knew about those mistakes.
That
Right.
goes to
Just
the
like
saying.
all those
goes-
people that Pearl Harbor never happened, or
Right.
World
The
War
Holocaust
II never happened.
yeah.
You know, the Holocaust never happened. I'm like, get your head out of the sand. Quit reading the stupid textbooks you think you're supposed to be learning from, and read a real one. And now Google is getting bad. You Google some of the
So-
stuff, and it's like it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So
What were you saying, Austin?
it's this sense of moral superiority in which you honestly believe that man has no capacity for evil. And if you
Oh, no, I know
were to
they do.
truly
Oh,
if you
yeah,
were to
yeah,
truly
they do.
believe that and surround yourself in this vacuum
Mhm.
where evil does not exist and only good feelings and only good vibes and
That's
the
what
best
creates the world that we live in right now, yeah.
Right.
And, you know,
Well,
it comes down
so-
to it. Good.
Well, just to finish that thought, so where does that lead? You could create an entire society where they truly believe that man has no capacity for evil, and then reality begs to differ, and the next psychopath comes along, like Hitler.
And creates evil, yeah.
And that goes back to the
If you,
saying.
yeah,
That goes back to the saying:
Sorry, go
those
ahead,
who do not read and learn about the past is doomed to repeat it.
yeah.
That's
If you
a very
forget the
old
evil
saying.
that existed to begin with, then yeah, it's gonna recreate itself every time.
Right.
However, the goal is to create that peaceful society.
Mhm.
Right.
right? But
But you're not going to get
have,
you're not going to get
utopia.
peace though.
but you're always going to
Yeah.
have the fringe. You're always going to have the fringe that's created from that. Something that
Yeah,
that
but
wants to
but-
break away from the mundane, because
Oh,
peace,
but-
a peaceful society is mundane.
But
Well, that's
Austin,
why
what
they
I'm
say you always have your 10%.
yeah, what I'm
No
saying
matter
is,
what.
Austin, is
Yeah.
if you make it serious and you make it a point, like you when you tell kids about the Holocaust, oh, like 6 million Jews got killed, and you just leave it at that, then yeah, that's what happened. No, you have to go to kids and you have to be like, these people got killed because of their religious beliefs, and they refused to die or refused to give up their religious beliefs because of it, and they got gassed. And not just gassed, they died horribly. And
Yes,
in
they did.
vast fucking numbers.
That's why they were
You
feeding me
have
all
to
that Taco
tell
Bell.
them that you have to literally tell those children the gruesome details. You have to show them the gruesome pictures.
The
You
outcome
have
of
to
it.
do that to every single child. And when they're going through school, and do it every single year, remind them of the suffering that people went through before they did, before they'll get it crammed through their thick fucking skulls to actually understand. This is why you follow simple, like go through the
Yeah.
Constitution. This is why you
Well,
go through simple rules.
Right. But it's pretty obvious at this point, though, that man, the natural recourse of the human brain is to pursue
Yeah.
immediate reward and short memory.
No.
We've created social media. We've created endless scrolling of miscellaneous information to constantly give us that dopamine rush and that serotonin.
Instant
That instant
gratification. Yeah.
information. Instant
Yeah, right.
gratification,
And
right.
to completely forget about the past in the moment, and to stay in the moment, stay in the moment, and never think about the past ever,
Right.
because the past is horrible, and right now in this moment you could just be happy. And what that breeds, it's I think that's always been how humans are. We want to stay
Well,
happy.
you're right.
So
You're right. But what's the difference between being human and humane? Human is acting like an animal,
well, of
We are
course, but
animals.
humane is providing that ability to stay in the moment.
okay.
That's when somebody's going through something, or
I was going to say, you went over my head on that one.
Well, no. Okay. When I say okay, when somebody fucks up and they make a mistake and they're drinking too much and they hit their dog or something, like, oh, they're just being human. But someone being humane is someone that is thinking beyond animal instinct,
right.
literally circumventing the like. Well, I'm not trying to punch religion into it, but literally just thinking outside of yourself, thinking 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, well, that's
Right.
exactly what I was saying. Was you're transcending beyond the immediate moment, and you're
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about the
there you go.
past and the future, and you're thinking about consequences, and you're thinking about what has happened in the past.
Yeah.
Because of what certain people have done. Certain actions have caused certain results.
Repercussions, yes.
Yeah,
Right.
and if you sit there and dumb down the education for children and make it that, like literally, oh, a bunch of people died because something happened.
Make
You're
it
not
about instant
telling them.
gratification.
Yeah, you're not explaining to them like what happened. Like there were people in China that when they disobeyed military orders, they were literally cut in half. And if the person that cut them in half didn't get paid, they did it slowly, as opposed to quickly.
Right.
And there were different ways of cutting them in half. Sometimes they would cut them in half by the waist. Sometimes they would cut them in half vertically. So they would hang them upside down by their feet and cut them from the groin down.
Yes.
And they might not
And
actually know what that kind of pain is. That's why you need to spank your children so they know a little moderate amount of pain
Right.
to kind of figure out, oh, this might be worse.
Yeah, don't spare the
Well,
rod.
That's right.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know the whole thing with the baloney that's going. I'm trying to keep the cuss words out of this, so trying to be PG.
I'm pretty sure
Um,
this is going to be R-rated. So
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
already
Well,
already. We
it's
already
gonna be
a few
R-rated.
times talked about COVID, so
Yeah.
it's already.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, if you lost my train of thought, damn it. Because I seriously lost my train of thought. No, okay. With the
Right.
schools, all right. You have teachers teaching children that because they're white or because they're black, they're privileged or they're
Oppressed.
suppressed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're not. You're gonna make your
What do
own
they
way.
call
You're
that?
gonna make critical race theory.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a
that's what it is.
circle.
Okay.
Which is what
Yeah,
schools have been
critical race
teaching a lot.
theory. Yeah, critical race theory is a circle. There's no way out of it. There's no way to say it's right. There's
Yeah.
no way to say it's wrong because
Right.
it's a circle. I think it's
Oh,
totally
and
screwed up. You cannot tell my
well,
granddaughter that she's going to be suppressed, and this other guy's going to be better than me because he's white. I'm sorry,
well, and
that's
and
not
and
fly with me.
yeah, you can't sit there and say that a white guy, like literally say he can't say anything. He has no opinion, none at all.
Right,
And
and that's
I'm not
what some
saying
Republicans
I'm not
are trying to do.
saying that a white guy has the right to say it.
No.
Anybody should have the right to say it.
Right.
A black man, an Indian man, Chinese man, every person has the right to say whatever they should be able to say. That's this country. That's how we're built on.
Yes. We're built on that freedom of speech and that freedom to do what we're able to do. We're given the opportunity if we take it. If we don't take it, it's not our fault. It's your fault.
And what critical race theory does is sit there and it literally takes one race out of the equation and says that we don't have an opinion.
Right.
Hey,
None.
Hey, Andy.
Yeah.
And David too. Actually, also Xana. I sent you guys that link to the protein. What was
Okay.
that? Trying to figure. Do you
You're
know what I'm
talking about protein shake kind of thing going on. Back to that.
protein shakes. Protein shakes
Okay.
have a lot to
Okay.
do.
Okay,
with,
that's not part of the
anyways.
critical race theory. Because the
Yeah,
protein
yeah.
shakes.
I don't know how that got into
Namely-
critical race
Namely
theory, but
because
yeah, okay.
protein shakes are white. So no, I'm not talking about
that's
eating
racist
protein
now.
shakes. Okay, stop.
Oh,
racist
that's
shakes.
You can't
There you
have
go.
that. You can't have that. That's
Shut up.
racist.
You gotta have a chocolate
Well,
one
anyways,
too.
what-
Now, come on.
There you go.
What are you saying now, Austin?
I'm talking about how certain proteins act as viruses because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
within a capsid and they actually
Right.
affect memory, which
Mhm.
affects your DNA code and how
Yeah.
memories can be passed on through generations.
Well,
Yeah.
that might be
Right,
why I can't
yeah.
remember what the heck is coming up next.
There you go.
Oh,
Oh,
maybe.
anyways, what
So
I was trying to get to is even though they're teaching the critical race and we're trying to pull them out of that, but yet again, nobody's saying, okay, well, what about our history? What about our world history? Nobody's teaching that anymore. Why
Yeah.
did
I guess
the
I
United
guess it's too
States?
complicated.
because it hurts their
Right.
feelings. It doesn't make them
It
feel good
doesn't
to
matter
read
if
about all
it
the
hurts their
violence of the
feelings.
wars. It makes them feel
Well,
good to think that everything is hunky dory,
we're
rainbows
ignorant.
and unicorns and butterflies
Ja-
everywhere, and
Da-
Right.
David, I don't think it actually has anything to do with feelings. I think that's their excuse. I think it literally
That's
has
their
everything to
excuse.
do with them being fucking lazy.
See,
And
which
I
is
don't. I they're indoctrinating our children, and it's been
This is
going
what-
on for decades, and it needs to stop. And
is
history
what I was
needs to
getting at
come back
earlier.
to the classroom.
What were you saying, Austin?
guys, I was just making a joke. I really,
Oh.
I'm actually
Yeah,
wondering.
no, I understand.
speaking of indoctrination, I'm going to throw Andy into the spot here, and
Uh-oh.
we're going to say that this podcast today is brought to you by Fox Computers, and located in Abilene, Texas. Andy knew I was going to throw him on this one. So, Andy, well, Andy built my computer. He built Xana's computer. And they're a really good shop, you know. You might want to look them up online and see what they have and potentially become their customers. Okay, back to what we were talking
Next
about.
subject.
Next subject.
Okay. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, you're a natural born producer. That was
Yes,
beautiful.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
That was
We definitely need to get
Sexy.
the classrooms back to teaching reality and not fantasy.
well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
America has traditionally been known as the melting pot.
That's the smelting pot, all right.
Yeah, every different race.
Yep.
Toss it in
Race,
there and
color, creed, doesn't matter what it is. We have it.
But
I think they
But
also
what I
reach
was-
a smoking pot. They'll all relax.
yeah.
I do have a thought.
What were you saying, Austin?
But what I was
Oh,
All right, Xana, what's your
well,
thought?
one
Go
second,
ahead,
Xana.
Xana.
hold on.
we
Let
just-
him
we finished
finish.
it.
Let him finish.
Yeah, 1 second.
It's just been like pulling teeth. Fuck.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Finish your thought,
so-
Austin.
Okay.
Okay, so the fact that certain memories and mindsets can be hereditary could imply a lot of the turmoil in this country. All right. Yeah.
Actually,
so-
I do agree with that.
Not a huge response. Xana, what do you think?
I just want to end out on a thought about the subject, or the thought that I have about the subject. Is I
ahead.
understand that we're trying to shield our youth from our world history has not been nice. We've always been going to war, pillaging people. It's been not very nice. But at what cost are we going to shield our kids?
Well,
Shouldn't
is it
be
shielding
high.
the
That's the cause.
We need to reform and be like, okay, yes, they're children, but our history has not been nice. It's not been about feelings, and it's been all about what can we get for
right?
this?
Well,
This? How are we
right.
gonna get this? And some parts should be shielded a little bit, but at what cost are we gonna shield it from our kids? Because if we
I disagree. I don't think they should be shielded, Dana.
Yeah, I don't think they should either.
We weren't shielded
I think
growing up.
the truth is the truth.
Right.
You take away that truth, they never learn that truth, so they're going to make that mistake that we already made because they didn't learn anything.
It's when you want to teach that truth, Xana.
Yeah.
For instance,
truth.
like for instance, you do history in middle school, right?
Yes.
There you touch on the subject, but you don't necessarily go in depth. Then once you get to high school, then you go in depth and you literally say every dirty, bad, bastardly thing that happened. And you don't leave anything out. I don't think you should leave anything out as far as like being a senior in high school. That honestly, hell, that might make more seniors not skip school. They might actually sit there and be like, "Oh, wow! These people got decapitated. They got cut in half. They got gassed. Like, I mean, seriously."
They'll become the next serial
They would get-
killers.
Yeah.
Well,
know,
that's why you tell them when they're older.
I see where Xana is coming from, though. That's
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm acknowledging your intelligence. I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
If we keep shielding our children
Right.
from truth, our past, and our present, and our future, then we gotta educate
Yeah.
more than shield people's feelings or, tiptoe around the bush about subjects. So you just gotta get at it because we're raising our future. Well, they're gonna be there after us. We're gonna be dead soon. Like all of us are gonna be dead. They're gonna be dead. And what are we gonna leave back behind? I don't want to
So
leave
you-
just puddles of
we-
sprinkles around. It needs to be.
yeah.
This is what happened. This is what needs to be done.
And you actually have the youngest child here in this group.
Yep.
And he's also autistic. So what are your thoughts about a child
When
emerging into this world
when do you
right
want?
now.
Yeah, like what Andy was saying. And when do you want to start
Yeah.
telling them or teaching them the truth of our history? I live in Montana. We have a couple of different Native American tribes around my area, and we have to deal with we stole their land. Okay, we go through this. Our kids are taught that because it's here. So they're not privileged only when they're on their Native American soil. They are privileged. When they're out here, they have to obey the laws just like we do, and when they don't, they're punished. But when do we start telling them that? Well, they start learning that when they're very little. It's because they're going to school with them. And they start teaching them that when they're younger. When it comes to World War II, the atom bomb, that kind of stuff, they can't comprehend at a young age. And like Andy was saying, something like that, yeah, you need to teach them when they're a little older. But Custer's Last Stand, I don't know how many people know a whole lot about that. That's not more than 45 minutes from me where that took place. Okay,
Right.
I go to the Custer reenactment. They have it every year, and I go down every couple of years and go watch that, the horseback riding and the soldiers and everything else that goes on during that.
And they aren't doing it to glorify Custer either. But sorry.
No, they're doing it to reenact history.
Right.
They're trying to teach. This is what happens when you take something from somebody. And it's a good thing to see, and it's a good thing to do, and they do it every year here. But when you ask people down south, you ask them from back east, what do you know about Custer's Last Stand? They have no idea what I'm talking about.
I do.
They have no clue
Yeah.
what happened
know.
there. Just like
Yeah.
no, hang on.
Yeah,
People in
Floyd does.
Montana.
Go ahead.
People in Montana. You ask what happened at the Alamo. Who was there? 99% of them are going to be. I have no idea.
Right.
I remember being taught that back in middle school, but
Yeah.
I really don't remember. You ask somebody from Texas, I can tell you exactly who was there, what happened. Step by
David
step.
Crockett.
Okay. Yeah.
When the U.S. failed its own state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so here's a
What
question.
do you got?
But yeah, you just gotta figure out and don't leave it up to these liberal teachers. I'm sorry I have to say that. I have to use that word because I don't like to use that word. But the liberal teachers and the people that are taking the teaching out of the classroom. And that all comes back to the professors that we have in our universities teaching our teachers how to teach. They're teaching our kids what to think, not how to think.
So Jimbo, that's actually a fascinating point you brought up.
Yeah.
Was the regional difference in teaching throughout America,
That's true.
because we forget just how large we are and just how young we are.
Right.
And if you look at a map of the U.S., it's pretty much split right at Colorado.
Yes.
The size of states, and they progressively get bigger and bigger the farther west you go.
Yep, till you get to California, and then that's it.
And
Yeah,
Floyd, what was your
and,
question, real quick?
Yeah, Floyd.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but
More
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
question. How many of y'all know what Harper's Ferry, West Virginia is?
I have
No clue.
idea.
Never heard of it.
Harper's Ferry, West Virginia was where John Brown was hung, which was the beginning of the Civil War.
Ah,
Okay.
See, I learned something new today.
That's-
Thank you.
That's what
John
started
Brown.
all of it. John Brown.
Yeah, and
right.
that's we're
You said John
we're
Brown?
very-
John Brown. He was
John
hung
Brown.
at Harper.
Never looked that up.
He was hung at Harper's Ferry, West Virginia.
See, and
He
that's
was the
the
one
thing
that
is
took
that
over
we.
the armory at Harper's Ferry.
Yeah, it's just like you're all of us here are from different parts of the country.
Right.
We're not all in one city. We don't go hang out at the bar when we're done, that kind of thing. We're all over the
Right.
United States. And
America's
pretty soon, I
huge.
hope we, and pretty soon, I hope we get some other people from other countries in here too, so we
Yeah.
can get their point of view on,
They're gonna think
how
we're
they
nuts.
I can
perceive,
guarantee that.
how they perceive our nation and why. Well,
Yeah.
I have my opinion. You have your opinion. Everybody that's watching
At-
this is going to have
At
their
some
opinion.
point, we'll be talking about world history too. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
I really think it's going to be helpful to have this every week. I really do.
Yeah, I look
Yeah.
forward to it. I
With
do.
our
I
4
look forward to
minutes
it.
left, Austin.
Well,
what were
hold
you
on,
gonna
hold
continue
on.
your
Well,
thought?
we still have to go back to Xana.
I believe that our children's education should not end when they leave those school doors, and it should not begin when they enter them either. I think it takes a village to raise a child, and regardless at any
I
age,
agree with that.
mentally capable of understanding, or you can, tiptoe around the bush, but the education should extend into families, into homes, and you should actively take part in your children's education.
Okay. So if you want,
well, hold on
So-
before you say that. Before you say it, Austin, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to say real quick. I agree with you, and I think that they need to have PSA announcements on TV and the fucking ads that they put on YouTube. They need to put that out there and be like, take part in your children's education.
Absolutely.
Literally
Yeah.
Say that.
talk like just a PSA to tell your parents to talk to the kids about what they learned each day and why, and explain it to them and go further into detail and stuff like that. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Austin.
Austin.
okay, so yeah, if you want meat, raise it yourself.
Yep.
I do agree with that.
I do.
I would love to. Yeah, I really would.
Me too.
I would raise a bunch. I would
I
raise a
know.
bunch of mini pigs and make mini bacons
The
all the time.
thing is that you get too attached then to the animal, and then I've been trying to cook the
That's
same
the hard
turkey for
part.
5 years, and he became part of the family. I can't kill that turkey now.
You can't. It's
Well,
real easy.
Well, that's what
That-
Sabbath
Well,
is.
sometimes when he bites me, I want
Yeah.
to kill him, but
Yeah.
David, what you do is you buy 5 pigs, you kill 4 of them, and you let the 5th one stay alive. You let that one teach the other pigs how to live.
wait a
There you
minute.
go.
If I kill
You
4
know
of
what
them, and the 5th one's that teach them. There, I got it now. I get it.
Yeah, and then the 5th pig you give away to like somebody else
Put
that's
them
gonna
out for
butcher
somebody
it.
else who's gonna butcher it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So with the 3 minutes we have left, Andy, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Love the conversation. It was awesome. It was deep. It was hard at times, to be honest, but I appreciate it.
Austin, your final thoughts?
And
Sorry, I thought you paused.
no, you're fine.
No, you go. Go ahead. What else?
Andy,
Andy?
Dead air, not good.
No. I'm
Not
good. I
good.
was done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because when
You're
you
not
paused, I thought you were done. Okay, Austin.
That's okay.
Oh, my final thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was great. It was a joy talking to you guys, as always.
Jimbo?
Yes, I absolutely love the vibe that we bring. We're all diverse from different parts, like Jimbo was saying, and we each have something to bring to the table, whether it's what we think, what we feel, what we know, what we've been educated on. And I really like our conversations.
Jimbo, what's your
Let
final
everybody
thoughts?
be able to talk. Yeah.
oh, my final thoughts is we have a very good crew here, and I think this is gonna go good. I really do. I have good feeling about this, and I hope that we're all here every week. We'll just figure it out and go forward because we have some really hard conversations tonight, and some of these conversations I want to continue. Whether we do it here online or we do it back at home, it doesn't matter. Or as what I would say our general chat where we all get together most of the time. And I think it's good. It's good. It's good. I can't wait.
I enjoyed it. It's great. I enjoyed the history part especially. I do know a lot about the Civil War and even Custer's Last Stand and a few of the others, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's great. I look
We're
forward
gonna
to
have to
next
poke
week.
you. We're gonna have to poke you on that, Floyd. We need more info. You need to give
Okay.
us more decades of experience.
What do you
Yeah.
want to know?
We're out of time right now.
Yeah, that's what I love about our group is that we got Floyd, who he's been around for 60-something years. Jimbo's been around 64. Jimbo's been around for 50-something years.
Yep.
Got me, who's been around for 43 years. Andy's been around for 35.
37.
37? Oh, shit, time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he looks like 40 or 50. I mean,
I know. We keep
Xana,
rocking
hard
it.
life.
I believe Xana and Austin both are your 20s, aren't you?
Yep.
Well, it's not polite to ask a lady her age. Come on.
No, I didn't ask her her age.
I was
just,
raised
I
that
just
way.
asked her to verify the age group wise, 20s.
26.
Okay.
well, hey, she's over 18 and under 70. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, somewhere
Yeah,
within that range.
we're-
Awesome.
We definitely have a very diverse group here to pick
Yep.
up and talk
It
about
is.
different topics.
And Jimbo, I know you really wanted to wear your shades, but you wore them on your head great.
Yeah, well, you know.
There you go.
The
There you
future
go.
is
There
so
you go.
bright, everybody should wear shades.
That's right.
And with
Yeah.
that, I'm out.
I was gonna say, Jimbo, you
Good
just
night,
need to say
everybody.
Mr. Enders.
Good night, Jimbo. Enjoyed it, bro.
Yep.
Got a full
You guys
tank of
see-
gas, half a pack of smokes,
There you
Yeah.
go. We're good to go.
Alright.
and we're wearing sunglasses.
Oh, and David, your final thoughts. We didn't get yours.
My final
Yeah.
thoughts? Well, that's what I was saying. I think we got a good group here. I think we did have a pretty good conversation. Sorry if I cut off people. I don't mean to do it. This is our first podcast that we're actually fully going live with. Not live. Obviously we're recording and uploading. But I love how our conversation has been going. I'm definitely more into history and that too. So I would love to hear more about it and also talk more about
We'll
it.
dive in.
Yeah, dive in.
Uh,
Politics and that, but otherwise, this to me today was a good done. I'm glad we did this today.
Me too.
I'm glad we all finally came together and did this. I really am.
Yeah.
Me
And
too.
for you, my final thoughts for everything. If you people that are watching this, if you have questions and you're able to leave comments, and our next podcast, we will see what we can do about answering some of those questions
Answer
for you.
some of them.
Yes,
You are
yes, we will.
our opinions.
Be sure to hit the
Yep.
like button, the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. I don't know if Facebook does that. And be sure to subscribe to us for more videos. Hopefully
Yes.
we do gaming. We do a lot of other things too. Check out our YouTube channel and check out our Facebook page, BGC Facebook. Whatever it is. I feel like Joe Biden right there. I don't even know what the frick
Yeah, there you go.
Facebook page is.
It's not Joe Biden.
Oh,
Kinda talk-
is that
kinda talking like him.
3-O-O-D-O-D-O,
Yeah.
But otherwise, thank you for watching this, guys, and we hope you guys had a good time like we did. And see you guys
God
later.
bless.
Good night.
Yeah.
Good
night.
day.